grace. Ẹlẹ́rù ni ìwọ ló bá mi ṣe tó fi dùn tó lárinrin. Ọ̀tá ṣe kó bàjẹ́ kò lè bàjẹ́ láéláé. Everything wey dem do you dey take me higher. No be say I too much o, ṣebí na your grace. Bí o sí ọ lẹ́yìn mi ò jẹ́ nǹkan kan. Àánú ni mo rí gbà lọ́dọ̀ rẹ. Àánú ni mo rí gbà òye. Àánú ni mo rí gbà lọ́dọ̀ rẹ. Àánú ni mo rí gbà o. They want make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Ẹni ṣiṣẹ́ ló ń jẹ. They want make I work, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Kò jẹ́. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Kò jẹ́. They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Kò jẹ́. Only by your grace, oh Baba. Now only your protection they cover me. Your protection. Ìwò táwa parọ́ bí káfíńdálá. Àmọ́ orí ẹyẹ ni ò pẹyẹ. Orí mi ò gbàbọ̀dé. Ọ̀tá lémi. Wọ́n ò rí mi bá. Wọ́n gbógun. Òfò náà bá dé. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé one with God is a majority. Irọ́ lẹ fi pa o. Èké lẹ fi ṣe. Irọ́ lẹ fi pa o. Èké lẹ fi ṣe. Èmi kọ́ mo ní ìbànújẹ́ o. Irọ́ lẹ fi pa. Ọ̀tá mi ló ní ìbànújẹ́ o. Èké lẹ fi ṣe. You want make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run kò jẹ́. You want make I work, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run kò jẹ́. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́nu. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run kò jẹ́. The worst for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run kò jẹ́. They want make I work, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run kò jẹ́. The worst for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run kò jẹ́. Ìdíkè Ọlọ́run ò máa.
Weekend. Of course, those that are very familiar with Cameroon, the Cameroonians are famously known as the Indomitable Lions with their national team. But then it will be interesting to know exactly what happens in the Cameroonian Premiership, the Cameroonian Football League. What's the Cameroonian grassroots football like? You know, how are these Roger Millers, the late Paul Mufedes, the late, the current is still alive, the former Cameroonian national goalkeeper, Thomas Nkono, the Emmanuel Kundes of this world. You're talking of Omar Mbiki, you're talking of Makanaki of Cameroon. It will be interesting to actually know where these players are coming from. How strong is the Cameroonian league? What you tend to find is a lot of African countries produce very strong national teams, but very weak football leagues. But let's get into it, and let's have a look at the Cameroonian Football League. Matches, of course, are played over the weekend. Colombo Lobo won, Barbutos 0. Cotton Sport, I think, which is one of the leading Cameroonian local clubs, beat Obafusam to the tune of 4-0. Edding Sports 2, Adle Rayo 0. Lion Bise 2, Futechu 0. New Star, nil. Bafang, nil. Umsde Loom, 1. Les Astres, nil. Union Douala, 1. Canon Yaoundé, nil. Unicorn Douala, 1. Canon Yaoundé, nil. Young Sports, nil. Stade Renard, nil. Apejes Academy, 1. Dragon de Yaoundé, 1. And on top of the league is, of course, Cotton Sports, followed by Edding Sports, Apejes Academy, and Oms Del Rhône. And of course, these are the 4 top teams in the Cameroonian League as we talk today, the 9th of August 2017. Cotton Sports have been quite a very, very dominating team in terms of local football in Cameroon. I'm sure a lot of you that are familiar with African football, in the Africa Cup of Nations, you've watched players like Abdoulaye, who reigns from Cotton Sport. I remember watching him in an Africa Cup of Nations when he came on as a 20-year-old, watched him at the World Cup, and I said, this boy has a promising future. Well, on the bottom of the league is Bafoussam with 28 points, Colombe Lobo with 23 points, and Canon Yaoundé with 22 points, and Lion Bissey with 21 points. Of course, those are the results that came out of inside Cameroon. Remember last week we looked at another West African country, we looked at Ghana. And this week from Cameroon, West Africa, we've looked at Cameroon. Next week we'll look at Senegal from West Africa. Well, if you are a football fanatic, or you're from Cameroon, a friend of Cameroon, or you love African football in general, please give me a call on 07415 063 960 and tell me, what do you know about Cameroonian football, you know, and I'll be giving out a prize next week. We're going to start a competition where somebody goes away with a very promising prize. Wherever you are in the world, we have DHL services here in London, so we'll have it posted to you. So make sure you hold me to that, because I'll be starting a competition next week on African football. So get researching and find out exactly what has happened in African football since Africa got its independence from between 1957 and, of course, 1990. In other news as well, hitting the African headlines in Africa, it's coming from the Confederation of African Football, CAF. Former President Issa Hayatou has hit back at new CAF President Ahmed with comments saying that the current CAF President has issued a statement to say Cameroon is not fit, is not eligible to host the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. Issa Hayatou, the former chairperson or president of Confederation African Football, has said that it's very, very disrespectful for the current CAF chairman, or CAF president, I beg your pardon, to issue a statement saying Cameroon is not fit, the country is not fit to host the tournament, when CAF have not really inspected the Cameroonian stadium, the Cameroonian sports infrastructure. Well, the question I bring out to you, the number to call is 07415 063 960. Do you feel that it's right for Issa Hayatou to still get involved in African football, or should he take a back seat? Issa Hayatou, of course, was president of Confederation of African Football since 1986. So is it time for him to shut up? Is it time for him to just let go and let CAF continue? Or you feel he's got a right to come into CAF affairs? Is it his democratic right? Does democracy just apply in politics? Do you feel it is democratic right? Well, give me a call on 07 415 063 960. In other news that, of course, hitting the African headlines is Guinea, the African qualifying competition for the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. It gets back underway in the next round at the end of the month of August. We'll know the nitty-gritty, which team is remaining in Africa and which team is going as far as Russia. Well, we look at Guinea, of course. Guinea, who've lost to Tunisia by 2-0 in Conakry, and going down 2-1 to Congo as well. But their new coach, Lape Bugoria, has not been put off. He says he needs a bit of time to bring in his philosophy to take Guinea to their first ever World Cup. Well, according to football analysts, most of the newspapers in Guinea, Tunisia, Congo, and Libya are saying that it looks like Tunisia and Congo are the favorites to get their ticket to Russia. Well, the Russia World Cup will be quite an interesting one that we've seen in the last 2 World Cups. We are talking of course, the World Cup in Africa, where Ghana were just a second away to representing Africa at the first ever semi-final in a World Cup competition. Well, for now, I'm going to take a quick break, and of course, when I come back, I'll call a guest to try and hear what is happening in other parts of Africa. So you stay tuned to Noble Radio, Noble TV. Remember, we are broadcasting live every day, 24/7, wherever you are. If you've got any comments or suggestions, the details are right in front of your screen. You drop us an email, or better still, you can call the studio and let us know your thoughts or opinions. So for now, I'll take a quick break, and when we come back, the sports show continues. Stay where you are.
They want make I sleep, make I know it all. They want make I walk, make I know chop am. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. Ọlọ́run ò máa jẹ́ o. Gègèdè ojú ti tọ̀tá o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká má lọ. They want make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ò jẹ́. They want make I walk, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ò jẹ́. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ò jẹ́. They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ò jẹ́. They want make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ò jẹ́. They want make I walk, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ò jẹ́. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ò jẹ́. They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ò jẹ́. I give you all the praise. Ẹlẹ́rù ni ìwọ ló bá mi ṣe tó fi dùn tó lárinrin. Ọ̀tá ṣe kó bàjẹ́, kò lè bàjẹ́ láéláé. Everything wey dem do, you dey take me higher. No be say I too much yo, ṣebí na your grace. Bí o sí ọ̀lẹ́yìn mi, mi ò jẹ́ nǹkankan. Àánú ni mo rí gbà lọ́dọ̀ rẹ. Àánú ni mo rí gbà òwe. Àánú ni mo rí gbà lọ́dọ̀ rẹ. Àánú ni mo rí gbà o. They want make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Ẹni ṣiṣẹ́ ló ń jẹ. They want make I walk, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. Only by your grace, oh Baba. Now only your protection dey cover me. Your protection. Ìwò táwa parọ́ o, bíi káfíńdálá. Àmọ́ orí ẹyẹ ni ò pẹyẹ, orí mi ò gbàbọ̀dé. Ọ̀tá lémi, wọ́n ò rí mi bá. Wọ́n gbógun, òfò náà bá dé. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé wọ́n with God is a majority. Ìrọ̀lẹ́ ti pa o. Èké lẹ fi ṣe, irọ́ lẹ fi pa o, èké lẹ fi ṣe, èmi kọ́ mo ní ìbànújẹ́ o, irọ́ lẹ fi pa, ọ̀tá mi ló ní ìbànújẹ́ o, èké lẹ fi ṣe. They want make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want make I walk, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. They want make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want make I walk, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. Ìdíkè Ọlọ́run ò máa jẹ́ o. Yegede ojú ti tọ̀tá o. Ẹ jẹ́ ká má lọ. They want make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want make I walk, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want make I walk, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. I give you all the praise. Ẹlẹ́rù ni ìwọ ló bá mi ṣe tó fi dùn tó lárinrin. Ọ̀tá ṣe kó bàjẹ́, kò lè bàjẹ́ láéláé. Everything wey dem do, you dey take me higher. No be say I too much o, ṣebí na your grace. Bí o sí ọ̀lẹ́yìn mi ò jẹ́ nǹkan kan. Àánú ni mo rí gbà lọ́dọ̀ rẹ. Àánú ni mo rí gbà òwe. Àánú ni mo rí gbà lọ́dọ̀ rẹ. Àánú ni mo rí gbà o. They want make I sleep, make I no wake up. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Ẹni ṣiṣẹ́ ló ń jẹ. They want make I walk, make I no chop am. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. Irọ́ ni wọ́n fi pa àjà ló lẹ́rù. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. Kò jẹ́ Ọlọ́run ló jẹ́. Only by your grace, oh Baba. Now only your protection dey cover me. Ìwò táwa parọ́ o, bíi káfíńdálá. Àmọ́ orí ẹyẹ ni ò pẹyẹ, orí mi ò gbàbọ̀dé. Ọ̀tá lémi, wọ́n ò rí mi bá. Wọ́n gbógun, òfò náà bá dé. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé wọ́n with God is a majority. Irọ́ lẹ fi pa o. Èké lẹ fi ṣe, irọ́ lẹ fi pa o, èké lẹ fi ṣe, èmi kọ́ mo ní ìbànújẹ́ o, irọ́ lẹ fi pa, ọ̀tá mi ló ní ìbànújẹ́ o, èké lẹ fi ṣe.
It's a corner. If you're joining us now, welcome to this lovely program. I keep mentioning this every single time I'm sat here on the hot seat, that the aim of the Sports Corner on Noble Radio, Noble TV, our real aim, I think, is to try and give people in the diaspora the information on sports news that's coming outside Europe, or should I say inside Africa. And by that I mean we are trying, I'm just trying to get this caller here. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Not so bad. Is it Uhuru from Kenya?
This is Mr. Uhuru. How can I help you?
Mr. Uhuru, I don't know if I've done the right thing, but I've answered you when I'm live on radio.
I'm not on radio though, am I?
Well, they can hardly hear you, but you are live on radio. I was trying to call you to see if you could give me an update of the Kenyan Football League in Kenya.
Seriously, am I on radio right now?
Yes, you're on radio right now.
Come on. You don't do that. You should have warned me before.
No, I was gonna not answer. I mean, you're not. They cannot hardly hear you. But can I call you at a better position if you're not comfortable right now?
Yes, you can. Yeah. Call me when I'm there. Call me in a few minutes.
All right, I will call you in a few minutes and hear from Kenya. Thank you.
No worries, sir.
Thank you. I think that's what I love about Africans. I think Africans were always ready to take on the challenge in any position. You just heard that caller there from Kenya. I don't know if he's in Tesco or he's in Lidl. You know, I mean, I remember, you know, I only buy from Tesco for Christmas. I'm not saying I'm cheap, but I normally buy from Lidl January to December, and I only go for Tesco for my Christmas shopping. So that's very positive, of course, from Uhuru Kenyatta from Kenya, who represents the Kenyan football team here in the UK with the popular, or should I say Africa's biggest community event in the UK, or rather in Europe, and that's the UK Africa Cup of Nations. Well, going back to what I was saying is the aim of this program is to promote African sports in Africa. There is this thing where you find that a lot of people, even in Africa, they are supporting the Arsenals, you're supporting the Liverpools, I beg, you're supporting the Chelsea. What about our teams in Africa? Look at the stadiums in Africa. It's so disheartening to me to see that a lot of teams in Africa, the local teams, right, that are at the Manchester Uniteds of Kenya, the Liverpools of Zimbabwe, right, they are not supported equally to how we support the European teams here. Is it because they're not well invested? Or should I be a bit political to say it's our mindset? We are slightly still living in the colonial days, as somebody would put it, you know. So to me, it asks so many questions, you know, raises so many questions more than answers. So why do you think we don't support our local leagues in Africa? You know, is it that we just prefer watching the European teams, the Real Madrid? I mean, I do as well, you know. We've got them, you know, because you've got this lovely plasma at home in your leather seat, you know, lovely in your little room or your council house. But why is it that we don't support our local leagues in Africa? You know, I'd like to ask anybody watching right now to challenge me and send me a picture on WhatsApp on 07415 063 960, telling me or showing me how you know, you wearing your local team. I mean, I come from Zambia, where I support a team called City of Lusaka, and just to prove somebody watching right now wrong or right, I'll be wearing the City of Lusaka replica jersey, which I bought personally. But then if we are not buying our replica jerseys for the local teams, I'm sure everybody that was watching now supported a team in Africa before they came here to do the shifts, right? To do the night shift, to do the packing of boxes. You know what I'm talking about when we come here. I'm sure you did support a local team at one point in time, but then, of course, then when we move to the Western world, we tend to forget about our local teams. So why do you think we don't support these teams? Give me a call on 07415 063 960. That's the number to call. 07415 063 960. Give me a call now and tell me, what are your opinions? What are your thoughts? Why is it that we don't support our local teams in Africa. And it's not just football, remember, it's the sports corner, it's not the football corner. So it can be tennis. We've got very talented tennis players, we've got very talented basketball players, but they're not getting the support because we're not creating platforms like Noble Radio, Noble TV is trying to create to also support the local sports talent in Africa. So I'd like to hear from you now on 07415 063960. I'm just going to look at a WhatsApp message that's just beeped here, and somebody here says that it's because the leaders that we've got are greedy. Okay, Simon, you say these leaders are greedy. Simon from Sheffield, thank you for sending that text. You say these leaders are actually greedy, but then is that the reason that we will not still turn up at the stadiums? Because these leaders are greedy. Simon, write back to me again on the same number, 07415 063960. Write back to me and tell me, is it that because these leaders are obviously greedy that we should use that now as a weapon, not to turn up at stadiums, not to support the local, the local teams. I'm sure a lot of you that are watching, some of you might be, saying, I mean, what's the whole point of the program? And some of you might be saying, yes, like us. That is positive. It's a journey that, we've started. We also need to improve. So we'd like to hear your views on that. Give us a feedback on how we can improve the Sports Corner. Nowhere else but on Noble Radio, on Noble TV. Right, I'm just going to try and get hold of our colleague here, one of our correspondent from Liberia, who is going to tell us a little bit about Liberian football. Liberia also has football. Don't forget that's where George Weah comes from, and there is talent in Africa. And Africa, to me, can one day win the World Cup. I've got very much confidence that we can win the World Cup, but then it's going to fall down to one thing, and which is we need to keep supporting we need to keep supporting our local leagues. So I'm going to try our colleague again and see if they pick up. If not, I'd like you to continue interacting with me on the Sports Corner. The number is 07415 063 960 is the number to call, and let us know your thoughts or opinions on how we can change the image of African sports. There is a gentleman that I spoke to from Nigeria who told me that where he comes from, and some parts of Lagos, he goes into the sports shops here in the UK when there's a sale, and he buys the football boots when they come down to £10, £9. He buys loads of them, loads of footballs for £4, £5, and he says, I only spend £100, but I do make a difference to my local community. So it's things like that, I think, that will enhance us to progress, improve on our football. I've been watching African football, or the Africa Cup of Nations, for a very long time. I'm very familiar with different patterns of leagues, how football is played in Africa. We're talking from West Africa, from North Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, and of course parts of Central Africa. The talent is there, but it's us. I remember the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the ever-spoken Tony Blair, one time saying that the only people that will change Africa are not the Europeans or the Americans. The only people that will change Africa are Africans themselves. It's not a rocket science to actually know that Africa can only be revived or changed by us Africans supporting our local sports, our local football. I think we do have a vast amount of talent. If you grew up in Africa like me, and you did watch football, you will believe that you saw so many kids without shoes that were playing very, very talented football. Just going to try another colleague here and see if we can get hold of him again. People are ever busy here in London, what they're doing. It's only them that knows exactly what they're doing. So it's very imperative that we try by all means to support our local leagues. Hello, hi, Mr. Uhuru. Can I put you live now?
It's a bit noisy where I am. Can you wait for me to come out?
We can hear you clearly. I'll stay on the line. Yeah, you could come out and we have a quick chat.
No worries, let me come out. I'm just leaving work.
Oh, just leaving work. How was work today?
It was brilliant, beautiful, can't complain.
Yeah, we have to make ends meet, not ends. We have to make ends meet, not ends vegetables or ends pounded yam. We have to make ends meet, or ends chicken or ends fish,
That's it.
not ends carrots.
Where did you go, my friend?
Well, I've been around. I've just been quite not busy. All Africans, we want to be busy. But then I was, you mean Africans even when...
Have you been looking busy or you been busy?
I've been trying to look busy. Africans, even when they are cutting onions, you call them, they'll tell you, no, I'm busy. Call me back. But you just have to say, listen, I'm cutting onions.
So it's an African thing.
It's an African thing. Even when they're only talking to their friend, they'll tell you, I'm in a meeting.
So you're saying we're liars?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm going to cue you now. You're going to be live on Noble Radio, Noble TV, and I'll introduce you as the coordinator of the Kenyan Africa Cup of Nations UK team. Am I correct to say that?
You're right, man, Mr. JC.
Yeah, before you tell me a little bit about the Kenyan League, how did Kenya do at this year's Africa Cup UK?
We did well. We got, comparing with the previous years, we did very well. We won 2 games in the knockout.
Okay, who did you beat? Who did you beat?
We drew 1 and we lost 1.
All right, well, who did you beat and who did you lose to?
We lost to Guinea-Bissau.
Okay.
We drew with some Torre,
Okay.
and we beat Somalia.
Yeah, they are quite a good team. Somalia at the Africa Cup UK, they are quite a very strong team.
Yeah, they're very strong. We're very, very strong. But we did manage to beat them.
Okay, fantastic. Anyway, I just want to know the Kenyan League. I was reading out results earlier on. How is the Kenyan League today? I know there is that very rich team. It's the Chelsea of Kenya. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's M-I-A at the end, Gor Mahia, something like that.
What one?
There's one of the richest teams in Kenya, the team that at the top of the league.
Gor Mahia?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, how is the league now in Kenya? I mean, has it improved over the years, and what can be done to make it match leagues like the South African League?
Compared to 5 years ago, it has really improved. We've got players we're selling players all over Europe.
Okay.
And as you know, someone going outside the country, they do improve game-wise. So it does mean we're producing good players in Kenya, and they are coming from that team, the Gor Mahia.
Yeah, Gor Mahia. Yeah, I've heard so much about Gor Mahia that they actually pay very good wages for their players, which I was very impressed to hear. That
They do.
So who's behind? Is it a company or an individual? Who's actually
There
behind?
is a company called Sportpesa,
Okay.
and they are doing very well. They are the sponsors. They are the co-sponsors of Hull City.
Okay.
So it's a big company and it's doing very, very well.
Fantastic.
Their goal is to help the young men from discovering what they've got, talents they have.
Okay, no, fantastic. And then the other question I was going to actually ask is how do Kenyans, because I know Kenyans from when I moved to Manchester, I got on very well with Kenyans, and I was quite impressed that, when Kenyans here, there's DJ Edu coming. They'll come in numbers to support their own. So like now in Kenya, how do they support local football? Do they turn up in numbers at stadiums, or is it like in other parts of Africa where you only get kids running around the stadium?
You know, Kenya has had the biggest number of supporters and fans, even since West Ham, when we used to hold it in West Ham. You remember the Kenyan run, the Kenyan tent, where we had our barbecue?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
They do like supporting whatever is going on around which regards to Kenya, in regards to Kenya. So we do get good turnout of Kenyan supporters, which is very good, and it's very positive.
No, I'd really like that, because I know that Kenyans, even here in the UK, have seen the kind of support they turn out. I've actually hosted one Kenyan independence in Manchester, and I saw the turnout compared to even other African countries. I thought like, okay, you know, this is the way it's supposed to be. But another question before you go, I know you might be out somewhere. What about grassroots football in Kenya? What do you think can be done to improve on grassroots football? Because here where we live in the UK, we can see that grassroots football is what has built the likes of Wayne Rooney, Michael Owen, David Beckham. What about in Kenya? How do you look at grassroots football? What can be done to improve on grassroots football?
It's the facilities. Mainly the downplay is the facilities.
Okay.
We haven't got facilities where we can take these kids to identify the talent. And once we get the facilities, once we get the pitches, all the pitches are on grass, and they do wear out very, very quickly. Especially when most of in Africa it's always hot, so the grass doesn't get time to go. So it's the facilities. Once you get someone to sponsor the facilities, Kenya can produce very good players.
Okay, final question. In terms of football, like, you know, where I come from in Zambia, football is normally just recognized on the line of rail, and that's between our capital city and the copper belt where the money is. And that applies as well in Nigeria. You find that football is normally in Lagos or Abuja and a few other states around Nigeria. So what about Kenya? Is the football in all the counties, because you people have counties? Or it's just, you know, there's a specific counties which are developed that only produce good teams? How does it work in Kenya?
You find that every country do have a football team.
Are they playing at top level?
And like I said, it's all about sponsorship and facilities. The pictures they use, they are horrible. And if we can get people to sponsor, because we do have people with money, but it's only that their interest is not in football. But if we get people to sponsor these boys and to sponsor the clubs in their countries, or the governors to put money aside for sport, surely Kenya will be somewhere else. But in the meantime, football is just something to talk about. It's just something that needs a lot of work.
All right, okay, no, Uhuru, it's been a pleasure having you on the Sports Corner. I like your voice as well. It's actually good for radio. You should consider becoming a radio presenter one day.
Did you mean it?
No, you've got I think even the people listening will agree to me, man, that you've got a very good voice for radio. It's very clear and catchy. So, you know, one day consider either being a radio presenter or building a radio station in some parts of Kenya.
You know, working with you is always quite easy joining you rather than joining someone else.
No, you're always welcome. No, you're always welcome with Noble Radio. Anyway, I'll leave you to it. Enjoy the rest of the evening and live life with passion.
And you too, sir. Take care, mate.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
See you soon.
Okay, thank you. Well, that was Uhuru Kenyatta, of course, giving us an update on Kenyan football in Kenya. As you've heard there, he's actually stressed out that the most imperative thing to do is invest into our football, invest into our infrastructure. But are we going to leave everything to government? What about us people in the diaspora? That, you know, you're earning your pounds, you're earning your dollars wherever you are. What about us setting up a little football academy with your little pounds? You know, you go into JD Sports, buy boots, at discount and, you know, contribute something. You remember, I keep repeating myself, but African football is rich. Well, let's finally find out if our colleague from Liberia is still available for a chat. Remember, the aim of the Sports Corner is to cover each and every African country that is in the continent, so they can get right. Let me just hello.
Yeah.
Hello, hi. Are you ready to come online?
Yes, I am.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna cue you now. Firstly, just introduce your name and, of course, the country that you come from.
Okay. Hello, my name is Victor Andrews.
Okay.
And I'm from Liberia, the president of the Liberian Community Organization.
All right, okay. As we start the program, we always want to know, of course, your background is you are the coordinator of the Liberia national team here in the UK that represents Liberia at the Africa Cup UK. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Okay, and how did Liberia do in this year, in the 2017 Africa Cup UK?
We did not come out of the group stages, so we did not do as highly as we expected. We had big intentions, but we were not able to come out of the group stages.
Right, fantastic. Well, let's go into the the local league in Liberia. You know, firstly, I would say your country has produced perhaps a player who was in his own class, and that's George Weah, and even Awilo Longoma, one of the Congolese artists, sang a song called Awilo Longoma Waka Waka. You know, so yeah, George Weah Waka Waka. So, I mean, tell us, the Liberian Football League, I mean, how is it right now? Is it improving? What can be done to improve it?
Well, the league is going on. I would say there's still room for improvement in the league. And I think what could be done is the league needs sponsorship from the private sector, and it also needs coverage from the electronic media, because I think the print media is doing its best, to promote the league, but we need more coverage when it comes to the electronic media, especially television. The national team will easier get coverage because apparently you have to identify with the nation when it's going up against other countries or playing in major tournaments. But the domestic league itself needs a media coverage from the electronic media, the television especially. And then obviously the corporate sector will be the best to make the league more viable, because there's a limit that the government can do. They often don't show as much interest as we will expect. But, those who manage the league, the Liberia Football Association, need to focus more on getting the corporate sector involved in the league. I think, that could highly uplift the standard of the domestic league. But thus far, the league is going good. At least it has been sustained, and as you referred, it has produced some world-class players, the likes of George Weah, arguably the best African footballer ever.
I totally agree to that. I salute that guy. I mean, I salute that player, really.
Yep. The only African to, I think, become world best, if I stand to be corrected, and then the only African to take the 3 titles, African footballer, European footballer, and world footballer in the same season. So we need to reflect on that prestige that the likes of we have brought to the nation. And as I said, the managers of the league take notice of how much the private sector can boost that league in itself. We only need to look at Europe and North Africa, for example, and realize that if they engage the private sector more, they can uplift the standard of the league.
Right, okay. Another question is, the Liberia, in Africa in general, right, you find that if Man United or Liverpool came to Liberia, people would turn up in numbers at stadiums. But then what about the local games in Liberia, like the top teams in the Premiership of Liberia? when they play each other, do people turn out in numbers?
People do turn up in numbers for a few of those teams. That's the problem. And then most of the club, you will not have a huge turnout.
Why don't they turn up with other teams? Why is it that it's just a few? Why do you think they don't turn up?
Well, because some of those teams in the Premier League, the Liberian Premier League, they go back generations. They hold very high rivalry. So it's almost like identifying with your culture and roots. That's how the Liberians see those four teams, for example, But the other teams, they are more recent, so to speak, came about in the 90s and what have you, and because they do not have major sponsors or good sponsors who can put a lot of money into promoting them. So yeah, they don't have a lot of supporters, but they do well. They do well themselves.
All right, and I was gonna before I ask the next question. So, which team do you support in your local country? Which team do you support?
I support Invincible 11, RE.
Invincible 11, and where are they at the league right now?
Right now, they are not doing well. They are not doing traditionally well, but they are still within the top half of the league. Just to say, that's the team George Weah came from, the Yellow Boys. They are nicknamed Yellow Boys. Yeah, that's my club.
Okay, and then what would it take now for Liberia to produce another player, or rather players of George Weah's caliber? I mean, if Liberia has produced George Weah, then it means the talent is there. There are more George Weahs who can probably play better than what we saw of George Weah. What do you think can be done now to ensure that Liberia still produces another 8-9 George Weahs?
Yeah, some of the things that could be done is the focus on, as I hinted earlier, the involvement of the media, especially as regards television and radio. For example, you made reference to the fact that if Manchester United or Liverpool and the likes were to go to Liberia, there would be a huge turnout, very, very huge turnout, which will surpass the domestic turnout for the greatest rivals in Liberia. And one of the reasons that will be is because of the media coverage of these leagues in Europe. In Africa, children want to go to video clubs, to go to entertainment centers and watch these European clubs. Why? Because they are there. The media exposes the game. But in Liberia, the domestic league, as I hinted earlier, is not covered largely by the television. So if the television, for example, and radio, if they can have more sponsorship, because they wouldn't air things that do not bring them money. If they can have sponsorship to air these games, it will reach millions of Liberians, and then more young people will be encouraged to improve upon the talent, knowing that they will get exposure on TV and others will see them, scouts will see them. So yeah, the media coverage is very important, and the private sector involvement is very important. But these cannot just come about if the managers who are in place, the Liberian Football Association, do not visualize it and engage both the media and the corporate sector.
All right, okay. Now, finally, or rather, before we wrap up, apart from sponsorship, if you had a one-to-one with the Liberian Football Association, what would you tell them in your observation that needs improving apart from the sponsorship or media? What else do you think that would need improvement?
I would think that a number of things that need improvement would be their engagement with the diaspora. There's a lot of Liberian talent in the diaspora. That's why I will commend the initiators of the Africa Cup of Nations UK. It presents a platform through which African talent on this side, who have the nations at heart, can cultivate themselves and be scouted by the national teams back home, or football authorities back home, and be scouted by others here, to join teams other parts of Europe. So if our local football association engages
Liberians who are abroad, I mean, well-meaning Liberians who, for example, ourselves, who initiated the participation of Liberia for the first time in this year Africa Cup of Nations, we can be able to expose talents to them. We can have them, invite them to the Africa Cup of Nations to spot talents. We were very impressed, for example, at how when we sent up a public relations, asking for Liberian footballers to get in touch with us because of that tournament a few months ago, less than 2 months ago. We were quite impressed with the number of Liberian talents, that came to us. It was telephone calls and what have you. And we were able to bring them together, have had just about 3 training sessions before the tournament. So the talents are here, in Europe. If our local football authorities can engage us, they may have to spend less than they would, otherwise, sporting talents abroad. If you look at the International Olympics as well, a number of the African nations there have their talents being groomed in the West. You understand why? Because the facilities, are better here. So we can help to uplift football, the standard of football back home in Africa, if we have a cordial relationship with them.
Okay, no, just wrap it up now. I'm going to thank you so much. It means so much for us here at Noble Radio to get a contribution, of course, from Liberia. But it just doesn't end here because we rotate countries every single week. So we're still with Liberia, and we do support the cause of... we had Marshall Gore, the chairman of the chairperson for the Africa Cup UK, who said that I think we need to involve the diaspora as well, especially if we want to get to places like the World Cup or win the World Cup, because the players that are playing here are playing at a technical different level. But we'll still continue supporting the local leagues as well, because that's where the George Wares were born. Yeah, so we'll continue doing that. But feel free anytime to, if you've got any ideas or thoughts on the Sports Corner, you're free to call us. You've got our number, you've got my number, so feel free to call us anytime.
Yeah, okay. Thanks a lot for the audience, and may I just hint that as part of the Liberia National Day celebration, which was July 26th, our team, Lone Star UK, the next name of the Liberia national team is Lone Star. So our team here is Lone Star UK. We'll be going on the beach with the larger Liberian community this Saturday, the 12th, in that national spirit. But thanks for the audience.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, whilst you're still online, if you've got an email for the football team, there might be somebody listening here who would like to join you, and they're Liberian or friends of Liberia. Is there an email address or a website they can look at?
We have not developed a website yet, but as we do, we'll have you informed.
Right, get us informed, but I'll just tell the listeners that if they want to get in touch with you, they can always do that by contacting us here at Noble Radio.
Yeah, and my email address as the coordinator is very vital, very V-E-R-Y, vital, V-I-T-A-L, V for Victor, at yahoo.co.uk.
Right, thank you very much, Victor, and you have a pleasant evening, and thank you very much for joining us on the Sports Corner.
The very same to you.
Thank you.
Long live your program, even longer live Africa.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers. Well, that was Victor from Liberia. As you see, the Sports Corner is just getting better. Today we had different countries. We had Kenya, we had Guinea. We spoke about, we looked at the Cameroonian League, and we've just spoken to our colleague there from Liberia. Of course, please feel free to contribute to the Sports Corner by dropping us an email. The details are right in front of you. Drop us an email on feedback on how we can improve the Sports Corner. Remember, we take criticism as well, although criticism is a fruit of a self-appointed judge, which is sometimes rotten. So drop us that email to criticize us and to praise us. We are very open here at Noble Radio, especially on the various programs that we broadcast to you live through YouTube and live through your tune in as well. And I can only say we can only get better. And I hope you're getting better this evening, because we're coming to the end of the program. Would like to thank you so much. for tuning in on another outstanding Sports Corner here with John Chinode. So we come to the end of the program. Make sure you tune in again next week at the same time between the hours of 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Anytime between those hours, feel free to call. And I would also like to say that for those that would like to advertise on the platform, please feel free to contact us. You know, the prices are very, very favorable, very affordable. And don't forget, we've also got this. We've got the Noble People magazine as well. So there is Noble Radio and Noble TV as well that you can use to showcase your opinion or talent. Well, that's it from the Sports Corner. Again, I repeat myself, I am John Chinode. It's been a pleasure having you with us on the program, and I'd like to wish you an outstanding evening, and please live life with passion. As I get up off my seat, stay where you are as we'll go back to normal programming. Thank you.
They want for my joy, make I just dey cry. I give you all the praise. Ẹlẹ́rù ni ìwọ ló bá mi ṣe tó fi dùn tó lárinrin. Ọ̀tá ṣe kó bàjẹ́, kò lè bàjẹ́ láéláé. Everything.